Guys, to get up on your feet and give me your loudest and your proudest welcome to Mr. Joe Pumpkin! All right, thank you guys. So really excited to give this presentation today. I think it genuinely has the chance to really change your business. But to start, I want to be a little vulnerable with you guys and share, over the last year or so, I've really struggled with what is the best way to support everybody from a marketing and sales standpoint. And in some aspects, I feel like I've failed you guys in my role. And for anyone that's been in the brand for a length of time, maybe over like 3 years, 4 years, you would know that we really only used to do one thing for client acquisition, which was LBOs. For some of us, it worked really well. For some of us, it didn't. So then we created UTP. And for some of us, we've had massive success. And for others, not so much. Then in the theme of the alignment last year, we tried to reduce our offers. Because if everybody was doing the same one or two things, we would then be able to create better assets and support everybody in a more efficient way. Well, that didn't really work either. And I think in terms of a fitness franchise, there's lots of areas where we need to be aligned. Workout of the day, even just doing 30-minute workouts are great examples. But marketing, I'm not sure that's the case. And we've tried to go narrow and deep, but I think what we actually need to do is go wide and shallow. And so I think we've just been doing it just a little bit wrong this whole time. And all this time, we've been teaching and sort of seeking the methods of client acquisition. 3 free days is a method to get clients. 28 days is a method to get clients. UTP is a method to get clients. But what we've all actually needed is the model to get clients. Because if you can understand the model of client acquisition, then it doesn't matter what method you do, you can be successful. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about the models that you need to have a successful fitness business. And I want to start by talking about Mrs. Jones and losing body fat. This skips fast. Oh, it's because of the double slide thing. So when it comes to losing body fat, there's only one thing you can do. Be in a calorie deficit and hit a protein target. Maybe you could just say be in a calorie deficit, but that's it. If you want to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit, period. That's the only way to do it. But there's thousands of methods that you could do to put yourself in a calorie deficit and hit your protein target. For example, you could do ketos, you could do macros, you could fast, you could just increase your exercise, you could do anything, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you're in a calorie deficit and you hit your protein target. These are all different methods that you could use, and it doesn't matter what you pick. The method doesn't matter. All that matters is you were fit within the model, which is be in a calorie deficit and hit your protein target. Now, Mrs. Jones, she doesn't understand this, because then it would just be easy. Okay, everyone in this room, we understand that. You could be forced to do keto, or forced to count your macros, or forced to be on a vegetarian diet, and you could still have success, because you know, okay, all I need to do is be in a calorie deficit and hit my protein target. That's easy. She doesn't know that, so what does Mrs. Jones do? She does keto, and it either fails or doesn't work, or she loses the weight and it comes back, and then what does she do? She tries another method, she tries another diet, and then the same thing, and another one, and another one. And all this time, it just fails, and she keeps cycling through these methods, and she never understands what is the model of fat loss. And this leaves her struggling, failing, and eventually quitting altogether. A lot of us are being like Mrs. Jones, but with our business. Okay, we're jumping from offer to offer. We're trying all these new things. We're going from this coaching program to this coaching program. We're looking for that magic bullet. We're looking for that diet. If I just had that one diet that would help me lose the weight and keep it off, then I would just be eternally happy. And you're going in circles, struggling, failing, and eventually maybe quitting altogether. But it's not your fault, okay? You didn't know that you needed to learn, or maybe know what it takes to learn the model of a fitness business. So today, I'm gonna try my absolute best to teach what are the models that you need to be massively successful, because if you can understand the model, then it doesn't matter what method or asset or person. You don't have to rely on anybody, because then you know I just need to be in a calorie deficit in my protein target. How you get there, it doesn't matter. And here's the best part. There's only 2 models that you need to learn. Okay, now when I started putting this together, I had lots. I was like, well, there's a marketing model. You need to market to get leads. And then there's a lead nurture model. You need to turn those leads into trials. And then there's a trial model. You need to turn trials into clients. But I kept like chunking down and sandwiching things together. And there's only 2 things that you have to do. You have to acquire clients, and you have to keep your clients. That's it. It's really simple. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna dive into both of these and really understand and actually walk through in real time to see if what you're doing is working. I'm actually gonna start in reverse order. We're gonna talk about keeping your clients, and then we're gonna end with client acquisition, because I think that's the one where there's the most gray, and that's the area where we maybe understand the least. So let's talk about keeping your clients. Okay, this is the actual model. This is what you need to know. You need to maximize the lifetime value of a client. So what does this mean? What is lifetime value? Lifetime value is how much a client pays you per month times how many months they're with you as a client. So how much a client pays you per month, that's your average revenue per member. Over the period of time that they're a member, how many months they're with you, that's your length of engagement. And you have to have both of these elements. You can't have one or the other. For example, if you had a Mrs. Jones that didn't pay you very much, that paid you $50 a month, but she was with you for a long time, 2 years, okay, your lifetime value, that client is worth $1,200. Okay, that's actually not very much. Conversely, if you had a Mrs. Jones who paid you quite a bit, who paid you $400 per month, but she was only with you for 4 months, again, your lifetime value isn't very strong. But if we optimize both of these, and if Mrs. Jones paid you $184 a month and is with you for 20 months, well, now that lifetime value is almost $4,000. And that's a really strong lifetime value. So, this is what you need to remember. What is your target? Your target for your average revenue per member needs to be a minimum of $184. Why $184? Our goal is for every fit body to get to a minimum of $550,000 of annual revenue. Okay, 550, that's $46,000 a month. We also want you to be able to do this with about 250 clients. If 250 clients paid you $184 a month, you're making $46,000 a month, $550,000 a year. So this is your target. So let's calculate what's your arm. And I know we asked you guys to come prepared with a few numbers, so hopefully you have these. If not, you're gonna make your best guess. And if you don't even know how to guess, then you're kind of in trouble. So let's calculate what your arm is. I want you to do this with me in real time. So your arm equals your monthly revenue. So I asked, come prepared with what was your average monthly revenue over Q2. If you know what that is, that's what you're gonna put. If you don't know what that is, what was your revenue in July? If you don't know what your revenue in July, you've got bigger problems, okay? So let's pretend, for this example, it's $30,000. In the month of July, I brought in $30,000. Then you're gonna divide it by your total active clients. Okay, make sure it's active. If you have a bunch of clients frozen, okay, they're not paying you anything, so don't include that. So however many active clients you are, you're gonna divide that. I'm gonna say I have 200. My arm is $150. So on average, I'm making $150 from each of your clients, each of my clients. So what is your arm? You should have that now in front of you. Now, if your arm is greater than $184, awesome, you're on the road to be super successful. If your arm is lower than $184, we need to get it up. We need to get it up so that it fits within the model. So how can you do that? Here are some methods that you could do to increase your arm. Okay, you could increase your price. Make sure your bootcamp price is $39.99 to $49.99 per week. You could move from monthly billing to weekly billing, because with weekly billing, you get 4 extra billing cycles. You get almost like a magical 13th month of EFT. Implement the enrollment fee. You could upsell your clients. You could take them from bootcamp and ascend them into bootcamp plus and get $20 more per week from those clients. You can cross-sell your clients. You could get your clients to buy more supplements. All of these things are different methods. These are all different diets that you could pick, and it doesn't matter what you do. All that matters is you fit within the model. All that matters is that you get your arm to $184. So you could do one of these, you could do all of these, you could do two of these, it doesn't matter. But you need to get your arm to $184 or more. So that's the first element of this model of maximizing the lifetime value of your client. Now let's talk about the second one, your length of engagement. This is your target. You want your length of engagement to be a minimum of 20 months. Why 20 months? Length of engagement is just the inverse of attrition. I'll show you that in a second. So this basically means if your length of engagement is 20 months, then that means your attrition is 5%. Our goal, you want your attrition to be 5% or less, and that is what we want. So let's calculate what your leg is right now in real time. So your length of engagement is simply 1 divided by what your attrition is. If your attrition is 5%, so 0.05, that's gonna equal 20. So that's what gets to that 20 months. If your attrition is 8%, 1 divided by 0.08, that equals 12 and a half months. So what's your leg? Calculate what that is really quick. Just take 1 and divide it by your attrition, and that's gonna give you a number. Now, before we talk about what are some of the methods that you could do to improve your attrition, I wanna talk about how powerful attrition really is. So let's pretend that right now that is your business. Right now, you have 150 clients, your arm is $150 and your attrition is 8%. What does your business look like? Well, what's your lifetime value? So we need to know our leg. So 1 divided by 0.08, we just did this, is 12 and a half months. And we talked about our lifetime value is just how much a client pays you per month times how many months they're with us. So 12 and a half times $150, this equals $1,875. So that is the LTV. So each client in this example is worth $1,875. And if you had 150 clients pay you $1,875, then that means your total clients are worth $262,000. So that's the value of your total clients in this example. So let's double it, because everyone wants to at least double their business. So what can you do? You can double your clients. That is an option. So if you were to double your clients, you keep your attrition at 8%, you kept your arm at 150, but now instead of having 150 clients, we have 300 clients. What is that worth? Well, this stays the same. We didn't change our attrition, we didn't change our arm, so our LTV is exactly the same. But now, instead of 150, this is 300 clients. So 300 times 1,875 is 561. And don't hate me if all this math isn't working out perfectly, but it's close enough. Okay, so we've doubled our business. We doubled our clients, we've doubled our business. Another option is you could double your price. So your attrition stays at 8%, but now, instead of your arm being $150, it's $300. So our length of engagement is still 12 and a half, but now each client is paying us $300 per month. So our LTV changes. Now it's $3,750, which is pretty sexy. That's awesome if each client is worth $3,750. And you have 150 clients that are each worth that much. That equals $561,000 or 2 or whatever it is. Again, we've doubled our business. Option number 3 is you could cut your attrition in half. So now our LTV changes just in a little different way. What's our length of engagement? 1 divided by 0.04 is 25. So now a client is with us for 25 months instead of 12 and a half. We have a low arm, they still only pay us 150. So our LTV is the same. And we have 150 clients who pay us that, which is this much, $561,000. In all of these examples, we've doubled our business. We went from 262 to 561. We did it by doubling our clients, or getting twice as much money, or cutting your attrition in half. All of them could work. But here would be my question. Who here in the next 90 days could actually go and double the amount of clients that you have? Okay? Probably nobody. The only time you maybe have the chance of doing this is when you first open your doors. How many here in the next 90 days could actually go out and get all your clients to pay you twice as much money? Probably nobody. But who here, with the right energy and intention, could go out in the next 90 days and take your attrition from 8% to 4%? Okay? That is doable. Attrition is the most powerful number in your business. But a lot of times, what do we try to do? We chase the first thing. If I just had more clients, God, if I just had 500 clients, I'd be super successful. If you're just chasing clients, you're just building this hamster wheel. It's just churn and burn all the time. Attrition is the most powerful number, and it's the one that you should focus on more than anything else. Okay? So let's go back to your length of engagement and your attrition. So I'm going to talk about attrition moving forward, not length of engagement, because they're really just the same thing. So what is your attrition? If your attrition is less than 5%, awesome. If your attrition is greater than 5%, we need to get it down. What are the different methods that you could do to decrease your attrition? You could focus on the 30-minute experience. You could do your weekly attendance reach outs. You could send personal voice drops. You could do client engagement assets, more personal onboarding, free internal challenges. You could dress up in a monkey suit and do a dance every time a client comes into the facility. It doesn't matter what you do. What matters is you get your attrition to 5% or less, because that's the model. How you get there doesn't matter. Now, that said, I would highly recommend that you focus on the 30-minute experience and your weekly attendance. Because if you do just those two things, you can get your attrition to between 2 and 3%. Okay? The only two reasons that people cancel outside of like they actually move or they genuinely have a financial change in their life is they stop getting results and they stop coming. What do you think are the best two ways to keep them getting results and keep them coming? Make sure your 30-minute experience is on point and make sure you're doing your weekly attendance reach outs. And just real talk for a moment. If your attrition is consistently above 5%, your 30-minute experience isn't good enough, period. Okay, Jared and I, a couple years ago, our attrition for years was between 8 and 12%. And we did all of the other shit, and we could never get it low. And it is only once we talked to Barrett and tried to get some coaching from other franchise partners who were having success that we realized like, oh shit, our client experience actually isn't good enough. And we all think our coaches are the best, and we all think our workouts are awesome, but if your attrition is over 5%, it's not. And that is why Jared and I built the 30-minute experience, which then Barrett and George have made it into this awesome thing for all of us. So set your ego aside. If your attrition is greater than 5%, sometimes it's hard to hear. The good news is you know exactly what you need to do. It's not like, I don't know what to do. I have high attrition and I don't know. Your 30-minute experience isn't good enough. So make it better. Now, weekly attendance. You guys know we're big numbers people. We've looked at how many workouts does a client do 30 days before canceling. So this isn't Mrs. Jones cancels and then she's in her 30-day window. We've looked at, and we've done this multiple times, most recently Jared just did it from January to July of this year. Okay, this is at all 4 of our locations, so lots of data points. This is 30 days. How many workouts did Mrs. Jones do 30 days before asking to cancel? Guess what the average number of workouts is Mrs. Jones does before asking to cancel? 1. It's 1. It's a direct correlation. When Mrs. Jones stops coming, that's when she's going to cancel. This is like 80% of your cancellations. And so, when Mrs. Jones is going from 3 workouts to 3 workouts to 2 workouts to 1 to 0 to 0 to 0, and then finally you reach out to her and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, we want to get you back. Good fucking luck. Okay, you need to catch them before they do that. So when it's 3 workouts, 2 workouts, that's when you message Mrs. Jones. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I want to shoot you this message. You have been crushing it this week in the couple of workouts that you came in. I'm super proud of you. I know your goal, you still want to lose those 15 pounds. What we have found is when clients come in for 3 or 4 workouts per week, that's when they get the best results. What kind of support could we help you with to get you back up to like 3 or 4 workouts next week? That's the message you send her. And you get her back up to 3. And imagine every single client, you did that with everybody all the time, and you never got clients to get down to 0. Your attrition would be almost 0%. So although you can do all of these different methods to decrease your attrition, the 30-minute experience and weekly attendance will probably get you between 2 and 4%. You just really have to focus on it and beat it to death. Okay, so you can implement all of these methods, none of these methods, a few of these, it doesn't matter. What matters is you get your attrition to 5% or less. Okay, so to recap, this is model number 2. You need to maximize the lifetime value of a client by getting your average revenue per member to $184 or more and your attrition to 5% or less. That's all you have to do. How you get there doesn't matter. Now, if you need to increase your ARM because you're less than $184, do some of these things. Highly recommend the bolded ones. If you need to get your attrition to 5% or less, do these things or something else, but I would highly recommend you focus on bullet point 1 at bullet point 2. Okay, so if this makes sense, if this we have this one model and we could do all these things to get there, if this makes sense, raise your hand. Okay, perfect, because if there was no hands, I'd be pretty fucked for the rest of this presentation. All right, let's move on to acquiring new clients. So this is probably the one that's maybe a little more exciting. This is all you need to do. Every month, you need to net 5 new clients and do it by at least breaking even, and in a perfect world, make some money. Net 5 new clients per month or more, at least breaking even in doing so. So let's break this down. Why net 5 new clients? Because if you net 5 clients every single month, you're always growing. If every month you can net 5 clients, you're always growing. And everybody in this room, we all have room to grow. The only location I know that's knocking on the door is Barrett and Georgia Berkeley. They are pretty maxed out. Everybody else, we've all got room to grow. Now, what does it mean to net 5 new clients? It means last month, maybe I lost 15. This month, I have to sign up 20. And if I sign up 20, then I'm gonna net at least 5, and you're gonna grow. And if you always do this, you will always grow. Now, the second part of the model, this is the part that's taken me a really long time to figure out. This is the part that we don't even really think about, but it's arguably the most important. You need to at least break even in client acquisition, okay? And this is why. Because unless you are profitable enough to lose money on the front end and still be really profitable, you cannot afford to lose money on the front end, period. So if you've ever had the thought of, I can't spend that much on marketing, or I need to reduce what I'm spending on marketing because I can't afford it, you've been losing money on the front end. There's maybe 15% of the brand that could afford to lose money on the front end and still be profitable and grow, but you don't need to do it, so why would you want to do that anyways? But this is the part that is really important. So what do I mean by losing money on the front end? Let's say you spend $2,000 on ads. Okay, maybe you're part of a coaching program or you have an agency that runs them for you. So in total, you spend $3,000 on marketing and sales. In that same month, you bring in 24 trials and they each pay you $100 for that trial. You make $2,400. So you made $2,400, but you spent $3,000. You lost $600. But a lot of times, all we see is the 24, and we're like, hey, we're doing a good job. But actually, you've lost money and you're losing money. So let's determine in real time, right now, if what you are currently doing fits within this model. Let's see if you are netting 5 new clients per month and if you're breaking even in doing so. So let's tackle the first part. Are you netting 5 new clients? So walk through me in real time. This could literally change your business right now. So how many clients did you lose the last month? I asked you guys to come with how many clients you lost in Q2. Whatever that number is, divided by 3. Okay, if you don't know that, how many clients did you lose in July? If you don't know that, you gotta fucking know your numbers. How many clients did you lose in July? Let's say it's 10. Step number 1, I lost 10. Step number 2, what do I need this month to net 5 new clients? You need 5 more. 10 plus 5, I need 15 clients. So if I just lost 10 last month, this month I need 15. But we don't market and sell to get clients. Okay, we market and sell to get trials, and then we convert our trials into clients. What is your trial conversion? Step number 3, hopefully you know what this is. Okay, if you don't, this is the kind of stuff that we need to know. In this example, I'm just gonna say it's 50% because that makes the math easier for my brain. So I need 15 clients and my trial conversion is 50%. How many trials do you need? You take 15, divide it by our trial conversion, 0.05, that's 30. In this example, this is like the magic number. That's how many trials I would need if this was my business to net 5 new clients. Because if I get 30 trials and my team converts at 50%, that's gonna leave me with 15 clients. I just lost 10, so I netted 5. Huge win. Now this is what you need to ask yourself. You just calculated it right now. This is what you need in order to keep growing, to netting 5 new clients. Are you doing it? Are you hitting that number? If you are, awesome. If you're not, I want you to remember this. More, better, new. Okay, this isn't my framework, this is an Alex Hormozi framework, and it works really well. If you are doing something that is working, but you're not hitting your goals, you just need to do more of it. And what do I mean by working? Let's use Mrs. Jones. We know that our workouts are really effective in helping Mrs. Jones hit her goals. If Mrs. Jones is doing 1 workout per week, what does she need to do? She just needs to do more. She needs to come to 3 to 4 workouts per week. She is already doing something that's working, she just needs to do more of it. If Mrs. Jones is standing on her head to try to lose body fat, that's not gonna work. So doing more of the thing that's not working isn't going to help her. Now, most of us have something that is working. You just need to do more of it. So if you're not hitting the number that is on your piece of paper right now, you need to spend more on ads. You need to get more referrals, more old lead reach outs, more school affiliates. You just need to do more. And that, for probably 95% of us, would get us to the goal that we want. Okay, if you truly max out the more bucket, you and your team are pouring 35 hours a day into getting your trials and you're not hitting it, then you move to better. Could your ads be better? Could your sales page be better? Can your trial conversion be better? Can you do your referral process better? Can you reach out to old leads better? You're just making it better. Okay, basically 100% of us fit within that bucket. You just need to do more and you need to do it better. If and only if you were to actually maximize both of those, then, and it's still not working, that is the only time you should do something new. But what do most of us do? We see what this franchise partner is doing, so I'm gonna try that. And then you hear about what this franchise partner is doing, it's working for them, so now I'm gonna try that. And you see this program on Facebook and you sign up for that. And then this agency promises you 60,000 leads in a month or they'll keep getting your leads for free, so you sign up for that. You're just always doing something new, but actually you just need to do what you're doing. Just do more and do it better. All right, so that's the first part of the model. Are you getting your trials? It's simple, yes or no. If not, do more and do it better. Now here's the part that we need to pay attention to the most. Is what you're currently doing breaking even? Are you making money or are you losing money? And this is the part that we usually don't think about. So let's calculate if what you're doing right now is at least breaking even. So we're gonna determine what is the cost to acquire a trial. And it's simple. I want you to write down what you spend on marketing and sales. So this is basically like what you spend on ads if you pay an agency to run your ads. What is that number? And every month I know it's a little different. It doesn't have to be perfect for this example, but write down what you spend on marketing and sales. I'm gonna say it's $3,000 for this example. Divide that by how many trials you signed up in that same month. So if I spend $3,000 and that month I sign up 30 trials, my cost to get a trial is $100. So every single trial costs me $100 to get. Now, you have 3 scenarios. You're break even if you're charging $100. If it costs you $100 to get a trial, and that's what you charge for your trial, then you're breaking even. If it costs you $100 and you're charging $147, you're making $47 for every single trial. That's a huge win. You're profitable on the front end. If you're charging $67 for each of these trials, you're losing money. So it's costing you $100 to get one, and they're only giving you 67. So you're losing money on the front end. So that's my question. Are you losing money? Are you break even? Or are you making money? Everybody in this room right now should have the answer to that question. So if you're breaking even or making money right now with what you're doing, awesome. Do more, do better. Ramp it up, and that's how you can really grow. Okay, if you're losing money, if right now your cost to get a trial is more than what you're charging, that's okay. We can fix it, so let's fix it. We just need to get that to break even. And there's only two things you can do. You need to either get your trials for less money or get your trials to pay you more. That's it. We need to get that $100 down to $50, or instead of charging $67, we have to charge $150. Those are your only two options. So, what are some methods that you could do to get trials for less money? You could get trials from referrals, from school affiliates, from old lead reach outs, from past client reach outs, from business affiliates. Just take the school affiliate program and run it for a business. From your emails. These all cost you nothing. Imagine that every single month you got 3 from referrals, 3 trials from school affiliates, 3 trials from old leads, 3 from a past client reach outs, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Imagine you got 3 from every single one of these. That's 18 trials that you just got, and it cost you nothing. And here's an example of what this can look like when you really put it into full effect. Okay, these are some of our recent numbers. And I showcase this because if we can do it, you can do it too. That is how my brain works. Okay, if we can do it, you can do it too. When Barrett had an attrition of 2% and our attrition was 8 to 12%, we could do it too. We just needed to learn how to do it. And now our attrition is between 2 and 4%. Okay, now disclaimer on the school affiliate, I am showing you the best result we have ever had. This is like the results not typical, okay? But I am so bullish on this program. So this is one location in the month of May, right before the summer. We had 19 trials pay us $199. So we brought in almost $4,000. And on the back end, we kept 9 clients. Like, talk about a win-win-win. We had 19 trials, we made almost $4,000, we donate 50%, so I got to write a check to the school for almost $2,000. We got to seem like a hero in the eyes of the parents, we got free branding, and we got 9 clients. And guess what it cost us? 0. It just took me a lot of work to build relationships, to get into the schools, but once you do, this like runs on autopilot. Do you think that school wants to do that again? They're super excited. It runs on autopilot. As long once you get in and build those relationships. Old lead reach outs. This is our numbers from the month of July. Arguably the worst month for fitness in the calendar year. We just got 22 trials. Now this is across our 4 locations. Okay, this isn't one, but that's like 5 trials per location. And they paid us $200. It cost us nothing. Okay, every single month, these assets are in Academy for you guys to use or reaching out to old leads. We all have 500 leads, 1,000, 2,000, $5,000 old leads. Like, you have this list of leads. Like clockwork, we, on Monday, go into our old leads, select 50, and send them a text message. We send them a promo. Then on Tuesday, we move to the next 50, and we do it again. On Wednesday, we move to the next 50, and we do it again. Monday through Friday, that is what we do, like clockwork. Do we get lots of engagement? No. Does it take lots of time and energy? Yes. But we just made 22 sales in July. Okay, it just takes work. But these are all ways where we can get trials for nothing. Past client reach outs. Okay, this was also in Academy for the month of July, the past client reactivation. Okay, we ran this in 3 of our locations, not in the 4th one. And we brought back 20 past clients. So that's like 7 per location. And I know lots of people in this room ran that. Some people brought back almost 20 in their own location. It just took the work. Okay, we can't become lazy marketers, we just need to do the work. And this is what most of us are doing right now. It's like, I need those 30 trials, and so I'm gonna run my ads and like pray to God that they work and I get my 30 trials. But if your cost to get a trial is $100 and you're charging $67, you're fucked. If this is all you're doing, you're literally fucked and you're losing money on the front end. And if you're not doing anything else, you will never grow. So rather than doing this, what if we do this? What if you only needed to get like 15 trials from your paid ads and you weren't relying on getting all 30 from those paid ads, and you using the emails, and you're reaching out to old leads, and you're running referrals, and your school affiliates, and you could get 4 from your email list, super doable. Everybody can get 4 trials from their email list, 4 from old lead reach outs. We just got 5 in each location in July by reaching out to old leads. Okay, referrals is always good for a couple. School affiliates, I just showed you we got 19. On average, we get about 7 or 8. And they all cost nothing. So not only does this build a less stressful situation for all of us, not relying all on paid ads, also if your cost to acquire a trial is greater, 4 out of these 5 methods cost you nothing. Okay, it's simple, but we have to be willing to do the work. Now, if you recall, there's a second way to break even on the front end. So number 1 was we could get trials for less money. Number 2 is we can get our trials to pay us more. And so that was one of the original concepts behind UTP, along with other benefits, is if I could get a trial to pay me a lot of money instead of a little bit of money, then I'm not only am I going to be guaranteed to break even, but I'm also going to make a lot of money on the front end. But the part that I know I failed to teach in the beginning was that the more that you charge for a trial, okay, and it doesn't have to be UTP. Imagine you wanted to charge $199 for 28 days. Okay, the more that you increase that price, your skills need to change. And so we can't just insert UTP or charge way more for 28 days, put our feet up and expect to win. Okay? We have to have the right expectations. And the right expectations are the higher that you choose to make your trial, the more time, the more energy, and the more skills that it's going to take. Now that is why we're working with SOS Dojo to help with our sales skills. But you just need to be aware of that, because there's definitely some pros to charging more. But it's a shift in what is going to take in order to be successful. So I want to introduce what I'm calling a trial spectrum. And so on here are all the different types of trials that we could run. These are all different methods that you could pick, and they all have the potential to fit within the model. All of these have potential to net you 5 new clients every single month and do it at least breaking even. These are all the different diets that you could pick, as long as you're in a calorie deficit and hit your protein target. So on the one end, we have our free trials. 3 free days, 1 free week, 2 free weeks, the things that are genuinely free. Okay, the next bucket, we have our LBOs. This is usually 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks, and I would define it as when you're charging 50 to 75% less than whatever your membership is. 21 days for $21, 28 days for $67. Okay, those would all classify as an LBO, or a low barrier offer. The next bucket is what I'm calling break-even offers. Okay, this can be 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. This could be a 6-week challenge. It doesn't matter. They're kind of similar to LBOs, but you're charging a little bit more. Okay, now you're charging kind of 25 to 50% what your normal membership is. This could be 21 days for $67, 28 days for $100. I know lots of people are having some success with running 28 days for $20 to register and $20 a week, so $100. Okay, I would put that in this break-even offer category. And then we have our profitable offers. And this is something like UTP. A profitable offer is when you're charging more for the trial than what your membership is. It's not exclusive to UTP. This could be 28 days. You could charge $249 for 28 days, and then it would move it into profitable offers. All of these can work. All of these might not work. They have potential. You just have to figure out if it's working for you and fitting within the model. So let's break this down a little bit. We have our free trial offers. What are the pros of running a free trial? Well, there's a good chance that you're going to get a bunch of leads, and it's kind of easy to do it. It's kind of easy to get those leads. But the cons with the free trial is you might not get the leads that you want. Okay, they might be lower quality leads. We've all probably experienced that. Your chances of falling within the client acquisition model are actually the lowest. And for anyone that has run or is currently running a free trial, you know it takes way more work than you think. You think that like, oh, if I just give away a month for free for everyone, everyone's gonna want my month for free, everyone's gonna come in and use the month for free, and then they're gonna love me and I'll get a bunch of clients. It doesn't work that way. There's no skin in the game. So these are the most flaky leads and trials that you're ever gonna get. Okay, now the offer itself generates $0. This is really important to understand because it's genuinely free. In order for a free trial offer to work, in order for it to fit within the model, which is at least break even, you have to charge the $100 enrollment fee. If you don't, it instantly doesn't work. Now you might say, oh, but Joel, I'm like, when I sign them up, their weekly membership, that's what's gonna cover my marketing. It can't, okay? That is your EFT. Your EFT needs to cover your lease, it needs to cover your payroll, it needs to cover your franchise fees, it needs to cover your bills, it needs to pay you, it needs to go into the profitability of your business. But a lot of us are doing that, and that is why you run into a cash flow and you can't spend money on the front end because you're actually losing money because you're not charging either the $100 enrollment fee. I know some people have success, they'll run like a short free offer and like put someone into UTP, okay? What matters is that you charge something on the front to cover your marketing costs. With free trials, you'll get the most tire kickers, the highest no-show rate. And just by the nature of the offer being free, okay, your team could be really on point. You could do a genuinely good job, but it still might not work because it's free. But that doesn't mean that it can't work. And this is, if there's one thing that I want you to take away today, outside of the definition of the models, it's that understanding that any of these can work and any of these might not work. You have to figure out if what you're doing is working. And then if it's not, do a different method. So here's an example of if you're running a free trial, this is an example of it working. Maybe you spend $1,000 on your marketing and sales and you get 150 leads. Okay, you get 40% of those people to show up and actually do the free thing that you're giving away, and you convert 30% of those to membership. Okay, these are probably actually pretty accurate percentages if you were running a free thing. At the end of that, you'd be left with 18 new members. So what do you have to figure out? Did I net 5 new clients per month, and did I break even in doing so? Well, if you signed up 18 new members from this, did you net 5? Probably, because that means you could have lost up to 13 clients a month before, which is probably like in the neck of the woods of most of us in terms of clients that we lose. So check. Did you break even? Well, as long as you charged that $100, you made $1,800, you spent $1,000, so you made $800. Boom, congrats, it's working. If this is you, keep doing it. Okay, what's an example of this not working? Let's say everything is the same, but now you get 80 leads instead of 150. Now at the end of that, you're left with 9 new members. So did you net 5 new clients? Probably not, because that means you only lost 4. And did you break even? Well, 9 people paid you 100, so you made 900, but you spent 1,000, so you lost $100. It didn't work. So it's not working. And if it's not working, you need to do something new. If it's working, do more, do better. Okay, free trials, what I've noticed, they work the least out of all the other offers, and what I've noticed is they seem to work best in small markets with not a lot of competition, and your attrition needs to be low. Okay, the owner that comes to mind, Sarah Dumont, you crush it with free trials. She's in a small market, 3,000 people, doesn't have a lot of competition, and her product is awesome, and she doesn't lose a lot of members. So a free trial will work. Free trials for us never work. The math just doesn't work. And for the majority of us, it probably doesn't either. But they can work. Now let's talk about low barrier offers, LBOs. What are the pros to LBOs? They're simple to run and they require the lowest skills. What I mean is we can have a sales page. Your ads can run to a 28-day sales page. Your emails can go to that sales page. School affiliates could go to that sales page. Referrals could go to that sales page. You can all just point to a sales page, which is a huge win. Now what are the cons? You must watch your numbers. You have to be careful with LBOs because it's a fine line between working and fitting within the model and not working. And what I've noticed over the last couple of years is when sitting down and going through this stuff with you guys is we feel like it's working, but it's actually not. And so let's walk through that. So here's an example of an LBO working. And remember, LBOs is when you're charging 50 to 75% less than your membership. Let's say you spent $1,000 on ads and you're in a coaching program or an agency is running those ads for you. So you spend $2,500. You brought in 35 trials, they each paid you $80 and you converted 60%. So at the end of that example, you're left to 21 new members. So let's see if you fit within the model. Did you net 5 new clients? Probably, because that means you could have lost up to 16 the month before. And did you break even? Well, you had 35 people pay you $80. So you made $2,800. You spent 25. You made $300. It worked. If that's you, do more, do better. Keep doing that thing. What's an example of it not working? Let's say you spent the same and you brought 30 trials instead of 35. You charge the same, but your conversion is a little bit less. It's like 40%. Well, now you're left with 12 new members. So did this fit within the model? Well, did you net 5? Probably not, because that means you would have only lost 7. Some of us, we do have an attrition that low, but for most of us, we're usually a bit higher. And did you break even? Well, in this circumstance, you were close, but you made $2,400. You spent $2,500, so you lost $100. So it didn't work. But when you look at it, a lot of people would feel like that is working. It's like, okay, I spent my $2,500. I got 30 trials. That's a good win. And I know my conversion, it's 40%. I know it could be better, but like, we're making progress. But you're actually not. It's not working. So you can see it's a fine line. LBOs can work, and they can work really well, but they can quickly not work. And you need to understand is if you're doing this, is it fitting within the model or is it not? And we just calculated that for you, so you should already know. Break-even offers. So again, similar to LBOs, but now you're charging a little bit more. $100 for 28 days instead of 67 or 57. So now your chances of falling within the model, they get a little bit higher because you're charging a little more. Now, what are the cons? They might require higher marketing and sales skills. They might not. It depends on how high you go. And maybe a sales page won't cut it, okay? But it might. So what's an example of this working? Let's say you spend that $2,500. You bring in 30 trials. Again, now you're charging a little bit more. Maybe you charge $147. You convert it 65%, so at the end of the day, you're left with 20 new members. Okay, did it work? Did you net 5 new clients? Probably, because you could have lost up to 15. And did you break even? Well, you had 30 people pay you $147, so you made $4,400, and you spent $25, so you made almost $2,000. Huge win. Now, what's an example of this not working? Let's say everything is the same, but you had 17 trials sign up instead of 30. So you're left with 11 new members. Did you net 5? Probably not, because that means you could have only afforded to lose up to 6. And did you break even? Well, in this circumstance, you did break even, but you have to meet both criteria. That's the model. You need to net 5 new clients every single month at least breaking even. Last bucket is the profitable offers. This is like UTP. The chances of falling within the model, they're very high because you're charging a lot. And it generates massive amount of cash on the front end. What are the cons? This, by far, requires the most time, energy, bandwidth, and skills to have success with. And you may need to work hard to get enough trials to net the 5. Okay, that's where profitable offers break down like UTP. It's when you're not signing up enough trials. So let's look at this working. So let's say you spend $2,000 on ads, you have someone doing your sales for you, and you pay them $2,200. You brought in 23 trials, you charge $499, you convert at 70%. You've probably seen I've kind of increased the conversion because as you charge more, typically, it doesn't mean that you will always, but your chances of converting do go up. So now you're converting at 70%, so that means you're left with 16 new members. So did you net 5? Probably, or at least you're really close, because that means you could have lost up to 11. And did you break even? Well, you had 23 people just pay you $500, so you made $11,000. You spent $4,200, so you made almost $7,000 on the front end. This is the biggest pro to the profitable offer, is that even if I didn't net my 5, if I was close, I just made $7,000. $7,000 is the equivalent of 40 clients on EFT. So it gives you this like huge buffer in terms of revenue. Now, what's an example of this not working? Again, where profitable offers break down is you're just not signing up enough trials. So you spend $2,000 on ads, you make 9 sales, maybe you pay $900, so you bring in 9 trials, they pay you $499, you convert the same, you're left with 6 new members. So you definitely didn't net 5 because that means you would have only lost 1, but you're still breaking even. So the profitable offer, you're usually always breaking even and making money. It's when you're signing up a small amount of trials, and that's where it breaks down, because it does require the most time, the most energy, and the most skills. So what do you do? What do you do if your offer isn't working? So this is that trial spectrum. So if you're currently doing something, if you're closer to the free trial, if you're like a really low LBO or you're closer to the free trial and it's not working, it's not fitting within the model, it's usually not working just because the math doesn't work. The numbers aren't there. You're running a free thing. And so your chances at bat, like if you even get the chance to sell memberships and even get to collect that $100, it gets really low. So you could do everything right, but it still might not work just because of the math. So if you are doing the free trial and it's not working, then it's usually, I need to move to that LBO or break even or profitable offer because you need to start charging for it. Profitable offer is kind of the opposite. Okay, if the profitable offer isn't working for you, it will always work from a financial standpoint. Where it doesn't work is you're not getting enough trials. And that usually comes down to your team, your time, your skills, your bandwidth. Okay, you can always get enough leads, but are you putting the right energy, time, and skills to turning those leads into trials? So you just have to decide that if you want to run a profitable offer, and you're not hitting it, you're not fitting the model, you need to just level that up. And are you willing to do that? Maybe. If you are, awesome. If not, that's okay. We just step down and run a break-even offer, or step down and run an LBO. And those are just the decisions that you have to make as a team. So to recap, model number 1, every single month, all you need to do, you need to net 5 new clients per month at least break even, preferably make a little bit of money. It doesn't matter what method you pick. It doesn't matter what diet you do. All that matters is you're in a calorie deficit and hit your protein. All that matters is you net 5 new clients and do it at least break even. You could do a free trial, you can do an LBO, you could do a break even, you could do a profitable offer. It doesn't matter. All that matters is you fit within the model. And that is it. And if you can understand those 2 models, you can have success every single month and build the most successful gym you could possibly imagine. So this is what I want you to do at the end of every single month. If you do this, I guarantee you will start to grow at a rate like you've never experienced. And we kind of just did these with your various numbers, and you can walk through me again with real time. And I'm gonna do it with one of our locations, our Auburn Bay locations. So at the end of every single month, I want you to look back at like, for example, beginning of August, we're gonna look back in July. Step 1, how many clients did you lose in July? Write that number down. For us, we lost 7 in that location. How many clients do I need in August in order to net 5? Step number 2, 7 plus 5, 13. We need 13 clients in August in order to net 5 and to grow. What's your trial conversion? Okay, write that down. For us, in July, it was 63%. Step 4, how many trials do we need? We need 13 clients. We convert at 63%. 13 divided by 0.063 is 19. In the month of August, we need to get 19 trials. If we get 19 trials, we will convert to 13 clients and we will net 5 new clients, and we're growing. Do that every single month, and it'll set you a target for this is what we have to get this month, okay? But that's only the first part of the model. You have to determine what you need to spend. Are you break even? So you already determined what your cost to get a client was, or your cost to get a trial. In that example that I gave, it was $100. Okay, for us, in this location, it's about $200. Cost us about $200. Is that the dollar sign? Wait, dollar sign goes like this. There we go. $200. I need 19 trials. It costs me $200 to get a trial. How much do I need to spend in the month of August to get my 19 trials? $3,800. 19 times 200 is $3,800. So if I spend $3,800, that will spit out 19 trials. We will convert it 63%. That'll leave us with 13 clients. We will net 5, and we're growing. Now, the last thing that you need to do is ask yourself the question, okay, I know that I need to spend that much. Can you afford to spend that much? Because we run a profitable offer, we can afford to spend this much money. We can always afford to spend whatever we need to spend to get our trials. But maybe you're running something different and you can't, and that's okay. So what could you spend? That's what you need to ask yourself. If you can't spend that, it means you're currently losing money. That's okay. You just need to get trials for free. So what could you spend? Let's say the number is $2,000. If I could spend $2,000 and my cost to get a trial is $200, how many trials will I get for my paid ads? I'll get 10. But I need 19. That's okay. I just have to get 9 trials for free. So I could do referrals. I could do school affiliates. I could reach out to old leads. I could do business affiliates. I could reach out to past clients. I just need to get 9 trials for free. That's actually really easy. So every single month, at the end of every month, if you do this one thing, you will literally grow forever. as long as you hit the targets. So find out what you need to do that next month. Find out what it costs you. Can you spend that much? If so, great. And I would say do that other free stuff anyways, because you'll grow even faster. And if you can't spend that much, that's okay. Just do the free shit. And you'll always hit your trial numbers. And then you'll always net 5 new clients, and you'll grow every single month. Okay, now what's coming? This is what is going to help you do this. Okay, later today, Tyler is going to talk about the Fit Body Marketing Machine. This has been a year in the works. I couldn't tell you how many hours and how much money we have spent on this thing. It will change the game and help you do this every single month. And moving forward, we're going to start providing full support for all of the offers on the front end. Free trials, LBOs, break even, profitable offers, okay, full support for all of those every single month. What does that mean? Landing pages, sales pages, ad copy, emails, everything. Now, it's gonna take a step-ladder approach to get to a variety of offers, but that's what you can expect moving forward so that now you don't have to search outside of the Fit Body ecosystem to find an offer that might work for you. You're gonna be able to run it because we're gonna build it for you, okay? Thank you, guys.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Joel.